Kia ora. I normally do my lives on Instagram, but I'm not having much luck lately, so I'm going to give this one a go. Good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm currently out walking in the beautiful redwoods forest in Rotorua, and if you live overseas, I'd love to know if you've actually been here. So many people come here. It's one of the big tourist draw cards for this beautiful place. So anyways, I wanted to share a little thought with everybody, given that it's Valentine's Day on Monday. So I am a member of a group, and I just saw a woman post about a date that she went on, and this man who she met on the internet ended up meeting her in person, and then proceeded to tell her that she was fat, that she was didn't look anything like her profile, and obviously made her feel a little bit like shit. So she ended up deciding that it wasn't for her, thankfully, and basically saying see you later. But before she said see you later, she said to him, next time filter your comments. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because I actually couldn't help myself. I had to write to her and just say, you need to be really grateful for that, for somebody showing you their authentic self the first time. There's a beautiful saying about someone showing you their true colours the first time, and believe them the first time, because invariably what people do, particularly when they're dating, is that they lie. They give a false side of themselves. They give their best side. They shut down their automatic negative responses, and unfortunately what that means is that we get drawn in emotionally and chemically, especially if we're having sex, because you get emotionally entangled with all those hormones that are rushing around, and all of a sudden when the true colours do come out later on, we make excuses for them. And what that means is that as time rolls on and that person isn't actually for us, and in fact they're probably unfortunately abusive without potentially knowing it, that we end up in a really dysfunctional relationship, and years can go by where we're trying to justify their behaviours, where we're trying to fix ourselves, thinking that the problem is us, and we're basically caught up in this low energy, low vibration bullshit, and that we end up calling a relationship. And unfortunately, the concept of Valentine's Day, there's a lot of women that are single out there in particular, and I know there's men as well, but I'm talking as a woman, that feel that being in a relationship is the success of life, and if they're not in a relationship, there's something wrong with them. And you know, that is such a limiting belief, and unfortunately that belief actually ends up with women going into relationships that aren't good for them, and staying in those relationships and justifying those relationships, and then they end up years later potentially coming out of that relationship half the person that they were, a minuscule of the person that they were. And I have been there more than once, unfortunately, but I know that that's the journey I needed to take to get the lesson, and the lesson was that I've got to love myself more. So, and also trust my intuition and be really mindful going into those relationships. Ask some really key questions at those first dates, and be really upfront with what I require and what I expect. And if that person can't deliver it, then, you know, respectfully, see you later, because I've got a great life. I don't need a man. I would love a companion, but I don't need anyone to make my life whole. I don't need a partner in crime. All the things that you see on these dating sites and things where it really shows that the person that's seeking a partnership is actually lacking in themselves. So my advice to you in terms of Valentine's Day, love yourself first. Go out and buy yourself something, or do something nice for yourself. It doesn't have to be commercialized, and it doesn't have to be a romantic partner. I've got a little boy who I'm going to make a card for, and I know he's making me a card, and I'll probably just pick some flowers from the garden for him to show him that women too can give gifts, and it doesn't need to be expensive. It can just be from the heart, and in fact, it should be every day, right? It's a bit like Mother's Day and Father's Day. It should be gratitude for that love every day, because that is the highest vibration we can have. You know, the vibration of love. If you're in a state of love, you can't be in a state of fear. So, you know, it's a bit of a mind switch if you've been caught up, especially in some really toxic relationships. You've got to switch out of that fear of thinking that everybody is like that fear of thinking if you're alone that there's something wrong with you, that, you know, bullshit limiting beliefs, and enjoy your life. Get out and live your life like I'm doing. I don't wait for anybody. If I meet somebody that wants to come along my journey, then, well, lucky them. So this is my other love of my life, who is enjoying her walk today, and I'm looking forward to getting home and continuing my walk and then getting home, continuing my walk and then getting home. Because the other thing I'm doing, and the other thing that's really important for people to do, especially in the relationship stakes, is to be super clear about what they want. And invariably we just go through life on autopilot and then stumble across a relationship and then spend years in that and go, that wasn't what I want. And then we've got situations where we're learning the lesson the hard way, like I did, like I know plenty of people do. So I'm running an online workshop for 6 sessions, it goes across fortnights, where we get crystal clear about 12 areas of our life, including love and relationships. And what that does is firstly, it allows you to have a compass, allows you to make some really clear conscious decisions about what you want and also what you don't want, so you don't waste energy and you're focused, and you can respectfully say, you know what, you're not for me. This is not for me. And I know what I want, and I'm just going to continue heading into that area. The other thing, if you're a believer, it also invokes the law of attraction. So what you focus on grows. So rather than focusing on the negatives and all the stuff that you don't want, because I know as a hypnotherapist, when people come to me, I'll say, what do you want? And they'll tell me a list of things that they don't want. And I'll say, well, what do you want instead? And people struggle with that because they've created a neural pathway in their brain that makes that easy, that makes that choice very easy and that response easy. And you kind of got to get a little bit uncomfortable if you're in that state and start turning it around to the positive. What exactly do you want instead? Focus on that. Write it down. Figure out what your beliefs are. So particularly in the relationship stakes, I know for me, I've grown up with a single mother and I've got some old beliefs that I'm working on that are about that I don't deserve love. I'm not capable of being in a fully functional long-term relationship. So, being really clear about what your beliefs are about something, and if they are limiting beliefs, notice them and do some work to get rid of them and turn them into empowering beliefs, because again, that will just draw you into the same old story. You're creating your reality through your thoughts. So if your thoughts are the same old woe is me story, I can't X, Y, and Z, and you think that for whatever reason, like for me, because my mother was a single mum, that it's not possible for me to have a functional family, you will actually create that reality. And guess what? I came to New Zealand 8 years ago and I got pregnant, and I've been a single mum ever since. And I'd love to change that. I'd love to change and have a functional family. And so I've got a really clear intention, and I know the strategy to achieve that. So get super clear about those beliefs. Flip them if they're limiting. Get clear about your vision, about what you want instead. And like I said, keep that in the positive. If you notice that you're writing in the negative, just ask yourself, what does that look like in the opposite, And then figure out why you want it. Your why is like your fuel. So, who are you with that new vision? Like, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it look like if you don't have that vision? So get really clear about why you want it, because that will motivate you. And the final thing is figuring out a strategy, action steps that you can take. It doesn't have to be big, just some small steps in terms of walking towards your dreams. And it will be super easy because you've got that motivation. And once you start on that cycle and create that new habit, that new neural pathway in your mind, because that's what it is. Every thought creates a neural pathway, and if you feed it and we go and repeat it and we look for evidence to support it, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and then that becomes our comfort zone. And we want to change that. Well, you've got to find out if you want to change that. So I'm running a workshop. It's an online interactive workshop over 6 sessions that we actually unpack all of that for 12 areas of our lives and get crystal clear about the life we want to live. And I'm not shitting you, it is incredibly powerful. It replaces the vision board workshops that I used to do. So I've got 2 spots left on this. We start on Sunday. If you miss Sunday and you still want to join, you've probably got 2 weeks before you kind of get behind the 8 ball, and it's not going to be any point. You'll have to wait for the next one. So the vision board workshops are great in terms of having a visual about what you want, but we can still do that within the Life by Design plan that we're going to create. So we're going to do the written format. We're going to bring the unconscious into the conscious, and then we're going to have a little action plan, so a strategy, and we're going to clear those limiting beliefs that don't serve us anymore. And then we're going to use the power of visualization, affirmation, and just the power of suggestion to really bring that vision to fruition. And I'm shitting you not, there's so much evidence to support that this actually works. It works. You are creating new neural pathways in your brain, making a different program, not running the old program anymore. You want to shut that down, shut those autopilot life that you used to have that's not serving you, that's giving you the same old story time and time again. If you're like me, I lived that life for long enough, and then I made the switch. So that's why I studied hypnotherapy and became a hypnotherapist and use all these tools in my own life. And I'm still learning, you know, I'm still going through the journey. So when I join people tomorrow, I'm actually going to be writing my own life by design plan, and I'll be supporting them and guiding them as well. So collectively, we're going to come together and have that energy of the tribe, if you will, the collective. Anyways, if you're interested, private message me, and you won't regret it. It's only $99 New Zealand, which is nothing really in the scheme of things. It ends up being less than $17 a session, and I give a whole lot of support and snippets of gold that will help you have a better mindset and actually create the life that you want to live rather than living by default. Because, I don't know, you get to a point where you go, fuck this, I'm not going to do this anymore. That's what I did anyways. So I'm going to say goodbye. Hopefully this works. I can see that people are watching, so just look at this beautiful environment that I'm in. Just stunning. My hair's just been washed and it's all frizzy. That's all right. I love myself anyways. Have a great day wherever you are in the world. Mā te wā.